Hello and welcome. This is Amhara Media Corporation English Service and you're watching our daily updates. I'm Gaila Damu. Stay with us. Ethiopian Media Authority Director General Mohammed Idris said social media platforms should be used to strengthen national peace, development and people's solidarity. Brown Workana reports.
The International Fact-Checking Day was observed in Ethiopia for the first time. A campaign that aims at alleviating the spread of fake information and hate speech was launched on the occasion. The event was attended by Ethiopian Media Authority Director General Mohammed Idris, representatives of the USAID in Ethiopia and activists. Mohammed urged social media activists who are influential and with many followers to use their works for good purpose. He also called on them to use social media platforms to consolidate peace, development and solidarity. Out of 1 million posts in Amharic, Oromanya and Tigrinya languages over the past 6 months, 50,000 were false, 30,000 inciting violence and 25,000 with hate speech content. Factify Ethiopia Executive Director Ashnafi Abebe noted the social media has continued to create and exacerbate problems. He added the increasing spread of false information and hate speech with political, social and economic content have been contributing hugely to conflict and instability in the country. Ashnafi said the spread of false information and hate speech is increasing and adding that it is necessary to use and implement new data filtering technologies to solve these problems.
African Union Commission Director of Agriculture and Rural Development, Godfrey Bahigwa, has called on global investors to engage in Africa's close to $2 trillion worth of business in the agricultural sector. Modomulie tells us more.
The director said that there is huge money to be made from the agricultural sector in the continent. He added there are many opportunities in Africa's agriculture, literally at every node of the value chain.
There are estimates that Africa's agribusiness opportunity is equivalent to around $1 trillion. That is the potential for Africa's agribusiness. So there is a lot of money to be made by the private sector, but they have to identify which node within the private sector they can invest in. So either production node, and I just talked about production, but there are also opportunities for value addition, investing in agro-processing to add value to our food products so that we reduce post-harvest losses, but we also increase shelf life for the food that is produced to minimize losses.
The director noted Africa can expand and increase food production not only by increasing both the amount of land under cultivation, but also by increasing output by unit of land.
So we have two opportunities to apply technology, for example, improved seeds, increased fertilizer application, improved water management, to be able to increase productivity on the current land that is under use. So that's one opportunity. The other opportunity, like I said earlier, because we have 60% of the remaining arable land in the world, we can also increase the number of acres or hectares under cultivation to be able to produce enough food to feed for this continent.
However, Bahigwa pointed out, currently the continent imports more than $50 billion worth of food from the rest of the world.
If we increase food production and productivity on this continent, we can save that money, the 50 plus billion, to be able to invest in other services and infrastructure on this continent rather than exporting jobs to the rest of the world when we have unemployed youth on this continent. If that money is invested on the continent, in Africa's agriculture, in agribusiness, we can create jobs on this continent while feeding ourselves instead of importing from the rest of the world and donating jobs and incomes that could stay on the African continent.
He further underscored that the challenge for all of us is to put in place a system that will feed over 2 billion people by 2025. In a bid to address that market gap and challenge, availing the best seed is also vital, thus creating huge opportunity for the private sector to invest in seed production in Africa.
Culture, Arts and Tourism Bureau head Hirut Kasau said that The newly developed tourism destinations in Addis Ababa, along with the existing ones, would make the city a vibrant hub of Africa. Abebe Brahani presents the story.
An event aimed at promoting Addis Ababa tourism under the motto Addis Ababa, the vibrant hub of Africa, was held. Speaking at the event, Addis Ababa Culture, Arts and Tourism Bureau head Hirut Kasau stated that the tremendous efforts exerted by the government has made significant contribution to the hospitality industry and provided adequate facilities for tourists. According to her, tourists visiting Addis used to stay from 2 to 3 days on average previously due to lack of adequate tourist-related services. But now most of the tourists have increased their stay to from 7 to 10 at the tourism destinations including Unity Park, Ntoto Park, Friendship Park, Science Museum and the National Palace Museum, among others, are developed and facilities made. The Bureau head revealed that many business persons have shown interest in engaging in the sector as the government has given due attention for the sector by developing tourist destinations both in the capital city and other parts of the country. She stressed the need to enhance the effort to lead the sector with this huge passion given to the sector. Hirut elaborated that tourism can generate foreign currency, create jobs and effectively support the economy through time. She said that they have built over 100% of the tourist destinations in the city and now they can promote them with full confidence so that tourists could enjoy their visit. The tourist destinations that have been in existence in the capital city include the National Museum, Ethnographic Museum and the Holy Trinity Cathedral, among others.
The Industry and Mining Affairs Standing Committee of the House of People's Representatives urged the Ministry of Mines to develop a strong and transparent system that prevents the increasing illegal activities in the sector. Abebe Brahani has more on it.
Briefing the Industry and Mining Affairs Standing Committee, Mines State Minister Milion Matthews pointed out that the mining sector has been facing bottlenecks. Lack of resources, security problems, and smuggling were among the major challenges raised by him. During the discussion session, the Standing Committee members noted that mining is one of the main sectors that have been highlighted for the economic transition that Ethiopia is making. According to the committee members, corruption, lack of coordination between regional states and the federal government, insufficient monitoring of investors operating in the sector, lack of infrastructure and organizational gaps are among the major challenges the mining sector has been facing. Mines Minister Habtamu Tagain admitted on his part the existence of gaps in terms of benefiting from gold, iron, cement, geothermal and other natural resources. He said the absence of a robust operating system and failure to build strong institution is hampering the proper exploitation and use of the natural resources. Explaining about the efforts being exerted to solve the problems in the sector, he cited and revealed that a very big cement factory would start production in less than a year. Industry and Mining Affairs Standing Committee Chairperson Amhara urged the officials of the ministry to solve the challenges and focus on strategies and procedures that benefit the country. She insisted that the ministry quickly completes the activities it has been carrying out on policy and strategy.
Renewable Energy Solutions for Africa Foundation Policy and Regulations Program Manager Andrea Renzulli said Ethiopia has all of hydro, wind, solar and geothermal potentials to become an energy hub in the Eastern Africa region. Brownwork and tells us more.
Really a blessed country in terms of renewable energy potential.
In an exclusive interview with INA, Renzulli said that Renewable Energy Solutions for Africa is a foundation that works in support of Africa's energy transition in order to achieve the SDG 7, ensuring access to affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy for all and the private sector investment. Millions of people in Ethiopia still lack access to electricity, he stated. and added, unfortunately, the level of investments is not yet appropriate for the needs of the country. There is a need to expand not only the generation but also the infrastructure to provide universal electricity access to all, but of course, Renduli pointed out and emphasized, with all the potential that Ethiopia has in terms of natural resources, the country has the ability to reach these targets and reach the time frame that the government has set.
We can all agree about it has a huge potential. We all think about the hydro potential, which is very important to the country, but it's not only hydro. Ethiopia has already built, I think, few projects in the wind, showing that there is also wind potential here. Solar, of course, geothermal, biomass. I mean, is really a blessed country in terms of renewable energy potential.
Renzulli stressed Ethiopia has the potential to become an energy hub within the region. The government of Ethiopia has expressed a clear intention to green growth and founding the strategy of the country on the principle of green growth and sustainability energies, he stated, and added they have to support the institutions in achieving these targets. Speaking of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, he said, the hydro potential presents a lot of opportunities for Ethiopia in terms of energy export.
I think we all hope that the dam can become, the Grand Renaissance Dam can become a vehicle of collaboration within the region. What we hope as citizens and I think as Ethiopians or people who works here is that the dam can become a vehicle of better integration and better collaboration instead of a vehicle of confrontation.
He expressed hope that the dam could become a symbol of the socio-economic development of the country and the region more generally, stating that countries in the region could also benefit from the potential of the dam. Renduli has also commended Ethiopians for their unwavering support for GERD in terms of funding, public diplomacy and technical aspects, and also for sustaining important projects for socio-economic development of the country. The manager underscored that Ethiopia has the capacity and capabilities to become a great energy exporter within the region, which could benefit all the neighboring countries. He has pointed out that Africa's hydropower resources in general hold considerable potential, noting that these projects require a large initial investment. He added that he believes Africa must continue to invest in hydroelectricity but also diversify its supply and production networks.
You're watching Amhara Media Corporation English Service, and now let's proceed to News Beyond Borders. Nigeria has received $800 million from the World Bank to expand its national social program as it prepares to phase out costly petrol subsidies in June. Africa's largest economy has allocated $7.3 billion for petrol subsidies, which will be in effect until mid-2023. However, there are no provisions for the expense beyond that time, despite it costing more than healthcare and education combined. The government is considering cash transfers and mass transit passes for workers to reduce the impact of subsidy removal on the most vulnerable members of the society. According to the finance minister, the government has identified 10 million households, equivalent to 50 million people, as part of its vulnerable list, and there are still several plans in the works. The COVID-19 crisis was predicted by the World Bank in 2020, falling below the poverty line by 2022, bringing the total number of impoverished individuals in the country to over 100 million. This figure represents more than half of the estimated 200 million population, as Africa News reported. Every day, hundreds of desperate people arrive at Dadaab seeking food and shelter, mostly from across the border of Somalia, where violent instability and a record bad drought has made life impossible for many. Yugash Adan Abdullahi shook a jerrycan inside rattled a few grains of sorghum, the only food to last his family another 10 days in Kenya's overwhelmed Dadaab refugee camp. Abdullahi with his family walked some 500 kilometers from their Dust Bowl village in southern Somalia to Dadaab, one of Africa's largest refugee camps just over the border on Kenya's far eastern frontier. His wife, Shamsa Abdul Rashid Mohamud, was pregnant during the arduous 2-week journey. She gave birth on arrival, her newborn, yet another addition to the 350,000 people who called Dadaab home. She said they left 4 months ago because of the drought, as African News reported. Zimbabwe's Vice President Constantino Chiwenga announced that the country intends to introduce a law that would make it illegal for other nations to recruit its health workers. And Netanyahu presents African News report.
The move aims to prevent the loss of valuable healthcare professionals to other countries, which has been a long-standing issue for Zimbabwe's healthcare system. Mr. Chiwenga, who is also the health minister, stated that the loss of healthcare professionals is comparable to human trafficking. He announced stricter penalties for those who he alleged had deprived the nation of its human capital. Mr. Chiwenga said on Wednesday that if one deliberately recruits and makes the country suffer, that is a crime against humanity. People are dying in hospitals because there are no nurses and doctors that must be taken seriously. He added Zimbabwe frowns at this heinous crime, which is also a grave violation of human rights. Local media say more than 4,000 nurses and doctors have left Zimbabwe since February 2021. The UK's National Health Service has been an attractive destination for Zimbabwean doctors and nurses, as the wages are far higher than those paid back home. Last month, the UK halted the requirements of Zimbabwean health workers after the Southern African country was placed by the World Health Organization on the red list, which donates countries facing serious health personnel challenges. According to the Zimbabwe Medical Association, the country has about 3,500 doctors for a population of 15 million people. Zimbabwe is facing an economic crisis characterized by high inflation that has significantly reduced wages.
You're watching Amhara Media Corporation English service, and now let's take a look at the foreign exchange rate. That's all the news we have for today. I'm Gaila Damu. Thanks for watching, and coming up next, Apps of the Week. Stay tuned.